Theophilus thistle, the successful thistle thistler, in sifting a sieve full of unsifted thistles, thrust 3,000 thistles to the thick of his thumb. Success to the successful thistle sifter.
This is what happens when I say leave it to the professional radio host.
They used to teach us that in broadcasting school, and as you can tell, it's been a while since I did it. But I still remember the whole thing. So
I will take that as a win. All right, let's get this thing started. Hey everyone, Tammy Jo Budzynski here. You can call me TJ, and welcome to our very first podcast with myself of Talk with TJ. So, being in real estate for 24 years and loving to talk with people, their interactions, their life stories, this podcast is about the human side of real estate, business, and life. And my first guest today is Michael Raymond, a colleague of mine that's actually on my team, and he has been a longtime pizza shop owner, devoted family man, and someone who's currently walking through a cancer journey that will courage and light that will absolutely inspire you. So this conversation goes just beyond business, so let's jump in. Michael, can you tell us a little bit about your journey in regards to how do you get from pizza, a radio, to pizza, to real estate?
Okay, well, it actually starts with automotive design.
Or automotive design.
Anybody who's suffered the bane of high gas prices can relate to this. So I was in high school, I was winning a lot of awards for arts and graphics and design, and my father was a graphics designer, so it was predetermined for me that I would automatically step into that field. Mm-hmm. And I was really good at it in high school. However, when I got to college, I found out that I wasn't as good as I thought I was. And by God's good grace, he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, "This isn't the direction for you." And I wound up working at a radio station, interning for guys like Howard Stern and a bunch of different people.
Oh, cool.
And I went to a broadcasting school, famous broadcaster, you can look him up, his name is Specs Howard. And so I went to broadcasting school. Got my degree in that, mm-hmm. and wound up at a radio station up in Cadillac, Michigan, 1,000 screaming watts of power. It's also...
Is that what it was known for?
No, it was an AM radio station. It was pop music and stuff like that, but we did a little talk show and stuff. And so I went through the motions of doing that, and then one day while my future wife was on vacation, I met her, and I immediately was smitten with her, and I asked her to marry me at the end of the week. And she
Wasn't
said...
she dating somebody different?
She was, and but I didn't care about that.
Clearly.
Right. So fast forward, she enticed me down to Grand Rapids, where I worked for a station called WJFM, where we never talk over your songs. And that was an easy listening station, the nation's most powerful FM radio station at the time. Mm-hmm. And we raised 3 children, but being a parent and being in radio is not always conducive to family life. So
hours, I'm guessing?
Hours. And you know, people, I will say, of the opposite sex make a lot of assumptions when you're in radio. Okay. And it could be money, it could be personality, it could be any one of a number of things. But anyways, so long story short, I got out of that and into sales, which started me into, of all things, selling pizza boxes. Okay. So we sold the first corrugated pizza boxes in Michigan through a company that's no longer in business doing that. Yep. And I went from that, I dovetailed into food sales, and then I dovetailed into being a restaurateur, because I always thought I could do it better than other people, because I called on enough of them, why not? So
Logical stuff.
I did that for 15 years. About 10 years into it, I had a thyroid cancer diagnosis, and I thought that was the end. And then I went through a few more years, and the economy started to change, and I started to change, and I found out I had more medical issues, and my wife wanted me to get out of that. So I went into, I had already been so successful in the restaurant business, I actually bought the building that I was in, and I rented it to another lady. Yep. And so that was my first foray into real estate, although I had done some like apartment rentals and stuff like that before. So after running hard...
Now the kids are grown and life has changed again.
Right. So after running hard in perpetual motion since the age of 12...
Mm-hmm. You're a little older than 12?
Yeah, I'm a little bit. I hit a wall. I just didn't know where I was going to go. because I've been in perpetual motion, always in business, always doing things.
Always busy.
Always busy.
I've
Always
heard
busy.
that. I've heard
And
that.
my phone. People say I don't like problems, but I thrive on them.
Yes.
And so when your phone stops ringing and everything, everything comes to an abrupt end.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother, thank God, he and his wife are both in the real estate
Okay.
industry down in Detroit.
Okay.
And they said, well, you've already done some real estate, why don't you just do that? So I got my license,
Yeah.
and that's what began my path to real estate and led me to your door.
And so, what was that initial step into TJHomes? I think you had a friend that was local
Mm-hmm.
that was working with us already.
Right. I met Tish Pullman
Mm-hmm.
while we were still at, I think I can say it, Rivertown.
Yes.
And Tish and I really hit it off. She's a very strong-willed young lady, very independent, kind of reminded me of myself
Okay.
in a lot of ways.
So a little sassy.
Yeah, a little bit,
Okay.
a little bit. And we started doing deals together, and then she left,
Yep.
and she came to work for you.
She did.
But we continued to correspond and do deals together. And when I got my most recent cancer diagnosis, I realized I was at another crossroads. I wasn't going to be able to do it all myself.
You needed help.
I needed help.
Support. I think is the better word.
A support team, a team.
Yeah.
And what you got to understand is I've always been independent, so it's really hard to take that transition from being super independent and asking for help.
Yes.
It's a big step.
I think that's hard for anybody.
Yeah, well, I
I think
equate
we
it
all
to
want to be
being
self-sufficient.
you equate it to being an empty nester.
Fair enough.
Okay, it's like the kids are gone, and now you're totally devoted to them. Now what?
Yeah.
You look at your spouse
They
and you
were
go,
your life.
yeah, and they still are, but they're off doing their thing, and so. But I realized that the amount of work that goes into a real estate career, with people think just go out and look at houses. Well, there's a lot more to it than that. It's like anything else. You build the foundation, and
It takes
all the backside that people don't see
Yes.
of the business was creating a burden on me. And I just said to my wife, I go, I'm going to need help.
Yeah.
Because if I go through treatment, which thank God I'm in treatment and I'm not having significant issues, but
Right.
if I go through that and I have a bad day,
Who steps up when you have a bad day?
Exactly. So that's where you came in, and so here we are doing
And
a
I
podcast.
remember, yeah. Well, because TJ also is never quiet or not busy.
That's right.
And so, with this huge background that you have,
Yeah.
especially like with radio, where people say, "Hey, I'm not the face of radio; I'm the voice of radio."
Right.
What were those conversations, and what did you learn from that help you connect with people today, especially in real estate, but not just specifically in real estate?
Well, there's a program out there, and I don't know if it's still out there, and it's called. Give me a second. I'm having a senior moment. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Dale Carnegie, and public speaking and human relations was a course that I took when I was here in Grand Rapids at WJFM. By that time, I had moved off air, from doing news and everything, and being an on-air personality, to working production, meaning writing commercials and dealing. I had to deal with a lot of clients.
Yes. And different personalities.
And different
perhaps?
personalities. Some people were really down to earth, like you, and other people were divas. And I'm not going to name names, but
Thank you.
But there are difficult challenges in anybody you meet in this life,
Yeah.
and so that course really helped a lot. And I've learned that I'm not the smartest person in the room, but I don't want to be.
Should I let your wife know and get that in writing?
I think she already knows. After
probably
we've
does.
been married for 43 years,
Yeah.
and if I haven't gotten it by now, I'm probably not going to get it. But that helped me interact with other people on a more personal basis.
Yes.
And then I did some talk radio when I was at the radio station.
Okay.
And subsequently, even through my career as a restaurateur, it helped me to deal with people like personalities like I'll name drop here: Rachel Ruiz, Terry DeBoer, and some of the people at ZZM, and all good people. But you get that relatability, and that's very helpful. Now in real estate, you run into a myriad of people. Some people know what they want. Some people don't know what they want.
Right.
Some people, they don't know what they don't know, and they don't know what they want.
And they wanted it yesterday.
Yeah, and they want it now, and they just
Mhm.
add water, and they think that's how it's going. So sometimes being able to take a step back and tap the brakes
Right.
and have a conversation with them is a little bit easier. So that's basically how I've extrapolated those years of experiences and those rivers that I've navigated over
Okay.
66 years.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
So, since becoming a realtor, what is the most surprising thing that you've learned that you didn't really expect to come?
Well, I think going back to what I just said is that people just don't know what they want, and they, you know, real estate's funny because we sell, or we basically provide facts, and I tell people that I'm not going to sell you a house. I know that's probably contradictory to what people believe, but
That's our motto.
basically we are giving you facts to make a decision that you probably wouldn't make on your own without those facts. And then it's up to you to decide if we've given you enough facts and you have enough information to make a purchase that you might not normally make, and probably the biggest purchase of your life. And so, but to do that, you got to start from the ground up. And I find that I'll just use an example as a husband and wife. If a husband and wife are at two different ends of the spectrum on what they want for a home,
Right.
and one wants something really high end and one doesn't care, they're willing to put in sweat equity,
Yes.
that's a problem.
Because who usually wins?
Well, usually, you know, I can't think of the philosopher, but it says the woman turns the head of the man, and so.
Oh, it's also on my big fat Greek wedding, which is one of my favorites.
The translation to that is for you guys out there is, as much as you might want that big boss garage with the lift for your car and everything. Mom wants the kitchen, and mom's going to cook the meals. And if you want to eat and be happy, you probably got to go with the kitchen and add the garage.
I think that goes into another proverb of happy life, happy wife, or
Yeah,
happy wife, happy
yeah,
life.
Exactly, exactly. So, communication from the outset is the foundation of any real estate transaction.
Yes.
So, if they're not communicating when you start, it's going to be a rough go. So, I always try to get those basics out of the way. Are we on the same page? Do we have the same goals? If not, where can we compromise? Once we reach that standpoint, then hey, what's the next step? Well, have you talked to your financial planner yet?
Right.
Where are you getting the money for this purchase? Did you just win the lottery? Are you independently wealthy? And if you are, call me. But otherwise, that money situation is a big deal. And a lot of times we've already hit that roadblock even before we start. Well, I just want to look at houses. I don't want to go to the bank. I'm sure I can get the money. Okay, so what happens if you go to the bank and now you've picked up this house you want, you love it, you're just emotionally attached to it now, and your banker goes, well, you're only qualified for this. So you've been looking at $500,000, $500,000 houses, and you only have $150,000 to work with.
Or you do qualify for that amount, but you don't like the terms. The payment's too high.
Right. And invariably, almost 9 times out of 10, unless you're independently wealthy,
Right.
It comes down to just like buying a car. They will tell you right from the outset, what do you want your price to be?
Right.
So,
Now, one of my favorite stories, and this is my 24th year in the business, which just shocks me to death anyway,
I know.
is in my first few years, we were out touring with a young couple, keeping on budget back when homes were $150,000 for a nice house.
Yep.
And we walk into the house, and she goes, oh, what's that door go to? And he goes, what do you think it goes to? Some ulterior universe? It's the garage, dear. And I just started laughing because it was obvious to him, but she was so overwhelmed and excited, she wasn't even paying attention to where things were going.
She was walking out of that dream kitchen.
She was walking out of the dream kitchen, and she didn't care about the garage, so she didn't know where that door went.
Yeah.
Is there a story that was like that for you, that was just a fun story? As you go through your Rolodex of all those interactions and all those people that you've serviced?
You know, I go back. I'm going to take a step back into the finance world of it. I think the most amusing story was I was sitting in. I was going through the training, real estate training at the time.
Yeah.
I was sitting with another agent in the title office, and we were at the closing table, and the husband and the wife that are buying the property are so excited. And this was one of those ones where the sellers were sitting on the opposite side of the table. Everybody's excited. I mean, you could have thrown a ticker tape parade, and there would have been confetti, and unicorns were running by. All kinds of things were going on.
My kids would like to see that. By the way.
And the husband turns to the wife in this moment of glee and joy and says, "I can't wait to park my new truck in this garage."
Did it fit?
And the title agent says, "Oh, did you buy a new vehicle?" And all of a sudden, there were a lot of long faces at that table because they realized that screwed up their debt-to-income ratio, and they had a real bad day. On the flip side of it, they were able to pull it out.
Were they still able to close?
They were. They had to do a few addendums and a few extensions, but nobody walked out of that meeting that day very happy. So now that's not a funny story.
No, it's not a funny haha, but it's a story you learn by.
It was, to me at the time, I was shocked, but after I look back on it, it was kind of amusing because the agent that they were working with had never even thought to bring that up because they had good credit and they did all these things. They did everything right except they did one thing wrong.
And we at TJHomes even have a list called our mortgage vows.
That's right.
As to what to do, what not to do, so you have set parameters.
Yep.
And I even joke with customers, your money is not your money for the next 45 days until we close.
Right.
Well, what do you mean, TJ? You are not allowed to do anything without permission from your lender to ensure that we can go to closing. So with TJHomes, specifically, what is with our team that we found was special?
Well,
putting you on the spot.
Well, no, that's fine. I mean, and I'm glad you are because, everybody has strengths and weaknesses they bring to the table. You are an independent woman, and you run your own business. You're an entrepreneur, so you and I can float each other ideas from that point of contact. Now, there's a couple other people in the office. One comes from a medical background. Well, believe me, I'm becoming very well acquainted in my journey with the medical field, and so we can talk on that kind of a level. There are other people in the office that have strengths with media or taking pictures or whatever thing. Well, I have a background in that because I went to school at the Center for Creative Studies when I first started,
right.
And learned all of that. So I find that everybody is special, but everybody brings something to the table. And when you get out there in the field and you're working with a client, as one of my colleagues in the office has said, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but we have other people on the team that we can work with. So you never have to feel like you're abandoned. If you're not jiving with that personality, we can make an adjustment.
Right.
And we do. And there's no loss to the team because everything we do dovetails into other, and we all kind of row the same direction with regards to, okay, if I bring something in, I like to work with buyers primarily, but I can list a house. But I prefer to let you list the house, and then I help them try to buy a house.
Right.
And so those are things the strengths that we have at TJHomes that I don't think a lot of other places do because they don't have that.
Work congruently like that?
Yeah, that synchronicity that, that works together to help the team achieve the same goal. We're all rowing towards the same goal. We want a happy customer. We want a return customer. We want a referral.
Yes.
And
that's how we build our business.
That's right. We like to turn friends into customers, and customers into friends.
I always joke that you treat family like customers and customers like family.
Yeah.
You don't want to treat family like family because then you feel like you're getting a disservice.
Right.
And, with that understanding, what would be your advice for somebody that's thinking about getting into real estate? Give me one nugget. And he's got lots of nuggets, so just give me one.
Well, I have a grandson that's attempting to walk into that field right now.
Yeah.
So one nugget, if you're a young person, so I'll go with that. That'll be my nugget.
Be young.
If you're a young person, well, it doesn't hurt, let me tell you. I think you need to have realistic expectations.
Yes.
Don't think you're going to come in and set the world on fire. Be open to learning, and also maybe be open to having a second career that runs parallel to your journey as you start in real estate. Because unless you have a really in-depth network of connections,
yes,
and we can help with that. But if you don't have that network to start out, how many high school kids do you know that graduate and say, hey, I'm going into real estate, and hey, my buddy that was sitting in the desk next to me,
Yep.
I'm going to sell him a house. It's probably not going to happen again.
I would add to that, be prepared to work.
Yeah.
Most people don't realize how much work this industry is.
Yeah.
And I remember one of my past clients saying, TJ, I want to work. I want to help you out. I can do this.
Yeah.
And after a few weeks in, he goes, wow, this is a lot of work. And I said, what did you think I did?
Yeah.
And he goes, well, you just made it look easy.
I think it goes back to that core thing that I talked about. You have to be able to want to help people.
Yes.
And if I were to share my original, or the beginning of my backstory before I was radio and everything else,
Right.
I had a rough go of it as a kid. I actually, and this is no joke, there is a running gag on Saturday Night Live about a guy who slept in a van down by a river, and that was me. I used to go to construction sites and eat out of other guys' coolers when they were not around. And so I know what it's like to be hungry. I know what it's like to try to be scratching to make your car payment. I know what it's like to suffer for your art. And so I can have empathy for a lot of people that are probably a lot of people would think are lost causes.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a great story with a guy over in Muskegon. He rented his whole life, and he was in his 50s.
Okay.
And he thought it was just hopeless. And by a chance call one day, he called on the phone about something, and he says, well, there's just no hope for me. And I go, let's not do that. Let's explore what kind of things we can do.
Let's see what's realistic.
And you know, 3 months later, that we had that guy in a house, and it was the happiest day of my life, was handing him in. See, he and his wife and his kids crying because they never thought it was possible.
Yeah.
You know?
And you helped on the journey.
Right.
He did the work.
Right.
But you helped lay the right things in front of them.
Right. And I think a lot of people on our team have that same mindset.
Yes, they do.
And so that, for you young people, and you old school teacher people, and whoever that are getting into it as a second career, you just got to remember that you got to have empathy for people. They may drive you crazy at times, but problems are good because they force us to solve something.
They do. They make us think.
Yeah.
And it shows that we care.
Right.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
So, Michael, in the midst of all of this chaos of life, you're also battling cancer right now.
That's true.
And you have been an inspiration to me.
Okay.
And the positivity that you, I don't know if today's a positive day, but in general.
Well, every day is above ground is a good day, they say, so I'll take it as a win.
So we're taking it every day at a time,
Yeah.
one day at a time.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, I think the main thing you have to consider is, okay, and this is going to sound like I'm on a soapbox here for people who have cancer. But one thing I've discovered about cancer is even the people that don't have it. So as you're listening to this, look yourself in the mirror and say, I have cancer, because it's more than likely you do. The other thing you might have is a really strong immune system. And you may not have been in environmental issues or anything. It's never your fault.
Yeah.
You know, but the medical community, God bless them, in some instances they're fantastic and others they're not.
Yep.
They put the fear into you, and they get in your head these, what I call them the flying monkeys.
Okay.
Anybody who's ever seen
Explain, please.
Anybody who's ever seen it, for you young people who's ever seen The Wizard of Oz,
Yes, I have.
see that movie and you'll understand the metaphor of the flying monkeys. They get in your head, and they can really bring you down. So, when I got my initial diagnosis of thyroid cancer about 10 years ago,
Okay.
the flying monkeys won. But as it turned out, I won in the end because I beat it.
Yep.
But the second go around, that was just totally out of the blue. And you know, when they tell you, you feel good, everything's going good in your life, and they tell you you're stage 4. That's
a big bite to take.
That's the coyote and the roadrunner with the anvil coming down. You know, so I'm the coyote and I'm getting hit by the anvil, and I go, well, okay. The natural inclination is to ask how long you got and all that garbage that
the
people
basic
have.
questions.
Yeah, and
why me? I would think, and then
well, there's why not me? Why not me?
Yeah.
You know, so I look at it. I'm really strong in my faith. So the way I look at it is, okay, they've already told me that if at stage 4, there is no cure, right? Okay, so what am I going to worry about then? I know there's no cure. I know what the inevitable outcome.
That just, for me, has a big bite to take. Like, all right, there is no cure. What do I do now?
Okay. Well, I mean, if you think about it, if you think about it in deeper terms, I mean, you're going to die. Our producer here is going to die.
Yeah.
My wife's going to die. We're all going to die, and we know that.
Yes.
But we don't give it a second thought until
we have a timeline.
Until someone puts either a timeline or a label on us that says, you know, you're not. You're off ramp. You're on the freeway. Your off ramp's coming up sooner, or you're looking over your shoulder waiting for your ride. So you can either stand around and wring your hands and say, "Poor me," or you can say, "Okay, they can't cure it, so I'm not going to worry about that."
Right.
Okay. The next step is treatment. How are you going to treat? Well, there is a myriad of treatments out there, and I'm not even going to get into how I feel about certain ones, but there are certain things that I will not do.
Yeah.
It's my line in the sand.
Yeah.
But I know that there's things out there that are treatable.
Yes.
And it's treatable, and your body can heal itself in a lot of instances. And so why should I worry about that?
Right.
Okay. So then it comes down to family. Well, you're going to miss a lot.
Yeah.
At some point. So you try to make as many memories as you can while you can.
Yeah.
I mean, we just lost he's not the moral compass of the world, but Ozzy Osbourne, Hulk Hogan. I mean, you can see
Hulk Hogan too?
Hulk Hogan.
I missed that one.
Yeah, that was just yesterday.
I missed that one.
Yeah, I mean, these are all children of the 80s. We all grew up.
I wasn't going to say that, nor date us.
But you know, they all, in the end, had to go with grace.
Yes.
They had to accept their diagnoses. Sometimes it just hits you harder than others. But for me, I'm blessed to be in a great place. Grand Rapids, Michigan is, and we talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
We have probably the most outstanding cancer research facilities here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The treatment that I'm getting right now is at a place called BAMF, which means Breakthrough Advances in Medical Futures. This treatment that I'm getting, I can only get it here, or I could get it in California or Germany. Okay?
And Grand Rapids is one of those
Grand
locations.
Rapids. So, you know, God has his angel on my shoulder, as he does on everyone's shoulder, and so that faith says this is your ticket to a little bit longer on the planet. And why is that? Well, you know, maybe, you know, people could say, "Oh, you're suffering or you're having a hard time or whatever." I could say, "Well, maybe that's what I'm supposed to do. Maybe that's God's plan for me."
Right.
Is, you know, some researcher gets more data from what he's learning from my case. Some family member is seeing how I'm walking in grace through this and saying, "Well, if he can do it, I can do it." You know, and believe me, there's a lot of other cancer patients that are way worse off than me. So I feel really blessed. So that's how I keep that positive attitude.
Well, and I had a scare 2 years ago for breast cancer. They have me on every 6-month check.
Yeah.
My sister has it right now. So and my mother is a breast cancer survivor. So it shakes you. It shakes you to the core. So with people that are watching right now, what is a takeaway that you'd want to have? Here's a misconception about cancer. Here's a, you know, people misunderstand this part about what it's like to live and work and still deal with this. How do you do everything? You know, people joke with me like, how do you be a working mom and do all these things? Well, also, how do you do that?
Well, some days you just don't. You know, and you have to be able to give yourself that grace. You know, even when you're well,
Mm-hmm.
you have good days and bad days. People who, we just went through a pandemic,
Yeah.
and a lot of people had a lot of bad days, and a lot of people had a lot of worse days.
Yes.
So, to put that in perspective, cancer is no different.
Okay.
It's another COVID. It's another Parkinson's. It's another this. God puts us all here for a reason, and we can sit here and get down on our knees and we pray, oh, please don't let it be me, or please don't. But why not me?
Yeah.
Right? God always answers our prayers, but we have to be willing to have the grace to say, this might not be the answer that you want, but this is the answer you're going to get.
Yeah.
And I have a plan, and this is my plan for you.
Mm-hmm. I had a really hard time with, we had a misdiagnosis with my father this year.
Yes.
And then my sister hit. And it was just one after the other you're talking about an emotional just roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember having a breakdown and just sobbing. And my husband said, what's wrong? And I said, why isn't it me? He goes, what do you mean, why isn't it you? And I said, my job's to take care of my siblings and my family. That's my role.
Yeah.
Why isn't it me that has the cancer? That I can take this burden off of my siblings. And he goes, but if you had it, you couldn't take care of everybody else.
Right. Change your view.
Change my view.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to
How else do you step up?
Yeah. Sometimes you just have to step outside that box, and real estate's a perfect example. Thank you
Please tell
for
me.
saying that. Okay. You are faced with a problem, and I always tell my buyers this, and I guess I would tell the sellers the same thing, but from a buyer standpoint, they're making an offer on a property.
Yes.
And the tendency is everybody wants a great deal. Right? Okay. And
They stopped in 2009 through 12, by the way.
And there are great deals out there, but
Yes.
put yourself now take your buyer hat off and put yourself on the other side of that table and say, I'm the seller. What's in it for me? You're bringing me an offer. What's in it for me?
Right.
Well, you're going to get a check, obviously, but maybe there's something else. Maybe there's a divorce. Maybe there's a death. Maybe there's a job change. Maybe
Both have to win.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And that's the way you have to look at it. And trying sometimes to have a buyer look at it from that perspective, because all they see is the hot kitchen and the garage where they can put the truck lift in, is, okay, you want it bad.
Yeah.
And they want to sell it bad.
Right.
So how do we get there?
Right. Has your view of success, of your goals, changed while you're working with your health right now?
No, not really. So truth be told, I married a very frugal woman. Mm-hmm. We go out to restaurants for our anniversary, and she's got a coupon, and I love that.
Right.
The
Dutch side of me likes.
I would never be where I am today
Yes.
if she wouldn't have done the things that she did. I'm a spender; she's a saver.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a realist also, and
Okay.
I think that I just feel that for me, everything's paid for at this point in my life. I'm 66 years old. I'm a stage 4 cancer guy. I got a wife. I got 3 wonderful boys. I got 4 great grandchildren, not great grandchildren, but grandchildren.
Right.
They're great. And so,
Different.
so now for me, it's more of a legacy thing. What am I going to leave them? Economies rise and fall, and I just have a feeling that it's possible that the opportunities that I've had and you've had and other people have had won't be extended to your kids or my grandkids.
Right.
And so I'm setting up that legacy for them. I've got good health insurance, and I'm soon to go on government health insurance. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But I'm not in it necessarily for the money. Money is a fringe benefit of something you like to do.
Yes.
Right? So I like to help people.
That's
I like to help young people because they don't have the contamination of having all these preconceived notions. They're very open.
Okay.
And they're willing to be, and they look down at you along like, oh really, type of thing. But what do you know? Well, I've got 66 years that I think I know a little bit about something.
But I've learned how not to do it, people.
Right.
66 years of how not to do it.
Right. So, I mean, I guess that's my takeaway.
Okay.
You can tell people anything you want in this business.
Yes.
You can see a train coming that's going to run them over, and you can be saying, the train's coming, it's going to run you over, but they are so focused on the bells and whistles of the train, they don't realize that they're about to be knocked down. And so the extrapolation is you can bring a horse to water, you can't make them drink.
Right.
So, did I answer that question?
Kind of in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. I appreciate. All right, so we covered a lot today, and as we kind of wrap up our segment right now, we're going to call I'm going to call our rapid fire time.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you some questions. We're going to get some answers.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Positive?
Yes.
All right. What is one piece of advice that you want to share today?
One piece of advice I want to share?
Yep.
Don't be afraid. No matter what the future holds, you will adapt, you will survive, you will overcome.
I like how you wrap it up, just move forward.
Yeah.
What is something people would be surprised to know about you?
Oh, well, I'm pretty much an open book. I don't know if there's enough. For the people that are watching, I went to high school in the metropolitan Detroit suburb of Rochester, Michigan, and I went to school with Madonna Ciccone, and then the last name probably doesn't mean anything to you guys, but Madonna is the singer Madonna. That and a dime will probably get me a cup of coffee. So I really didn't do anything, but I did date her sister. I knew her family.
You dated Madonna's sister?
I dated, and believe it or not,
what a fun.
we hung out.
Okay.
And her name was Paula, and how ironic that.
It's not the Paula that you married.
About 30 years later,
Okay.
There's been a lot of Paulas in my life. So.
If you could go back and talk to your 25-year-old self, what would you tell him?
Don't be impressed by other people's lifestyle, and set your own path and your own expectation.
And what's next for you? What are you excited about? What's going to get you out of bed tomorrow?
My wife and I joke about that all the time, and you brought it up kind of at the beginning of the segment. I've done a lot. So what gets me up in the morning are probably my grandkids.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because now they're not great grandkids, they're great.
They're just my grandkids who are great.
Who are great.
Yep. I actually have a drawing that my one grandson, I'm going to get a little emotional here.
It's okay.
Gave me when my restaurant business was failing.
Okay.
And it said, it's a cartoon character of like a Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
And it said, don't ever give up. And that's what gets me out of bed in the morning. I'm not going to give up.
Thank you for sharing. See, now I'm going to tear up too.
Well, that's what it's all about.
It is. That's all.
And if you
folks,
can't have
right?
them cry once in a while, then you're not a real man. I'm telling you right now.
Well, it's going to be hard to do my last question now after that, so I'll have to reverse the order. So super, like one-liners, okay?
Okay.
Pizza topping that you'll defend to the grave.
Fresh mushrooms.
Oh, I can't do mushrooms. Okay, I'll take it. Beach day or mountain hike?
Well, I have a house on the lake, so beach day.
Okay. Favorite radio memory?
Saying a really bad expletive on the nation's most powerful FM radio station, and having to go to the general manager when that was taboo. I mean, now they say it all the time, but back then you didn't. And
Give me a year. What year was this?
1981.
Oh yeah, that is bad.
Yeah, and
You were in
and I learned. No, I really learned something there. I learned grace.
Okay.
Because my radio manager was a guy by the name of Stan Smart, and he really was. I walked into his office and I said, Stan, I just said bleep. on the nation's most powerful radio station. And he kind of pulled the paper down and he kind of gave me the stink eye and he goes, "Did you do it on purpose?" I go, "No." And he goes, "Okay, don't let it happen again. Now get out of my office."
And was there any fallback at all?
There wasn't. I mean, obviously the phone lines were lighting up like a Christmas tree, and so I had to explain it. It was
people complaining or in support.
there were a lot of people that thought it was great because of the context of why I said it,
okay,
and how I said it. We used to record news on a tape, and if you made a mistake, you just went back and erased the tape. Well, I had done a take, and the tape I thought had erased, but it hadn't. And so it went out over the air.
Okay.
And it was about politics, and so as we all know, there's two sides to every story in politics, and
but it made it light up.
Some people received it really well, and some people didn't.
So
I'm still here.
Dream client, dead or alive, who was your favorite? Is there a favorite that you could bring to mind?
Dream client? You mean in this context, or somebody who I'd like somebody who I'd like to do business with?
Something like that.
Oh,
whatever it is.
I think my grandkids.
Very cool.
Because then I'm setting them on a path, aren't I?
Mm-hmm.
Then it becomes a generational thing.
It does.
You know, I was able to buy myself a house.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to help all three of my boys buy a house, and now I would be able to find a way to help my grandkids buy a house.
Right, which gives you a little more time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's my ultimate goal, is to make it to my youngest grandchild's graduation, and that's 10 years away.
Okay, I like that goal very much.
Yeah.
And then last question: what is one song that fires you up?
Wow. Now you're asking me. So I was in radio for all those years.
Mm-hmm.
And
what's one of your favorites? I mean, there's got to be 800, but.
Well, you're going to laugh. It's an instrumental by a guitar player named Joe Satriani, and it's called "Surfing with an Alien." And I'll just have to. You guys are going to have to Google it and play it. And just it's pretty heavy metal rock, instrumental guitar riff type of thing. And,
I'll have to look it up and make sure, because I don't remember names of songs.
Right.
So my kids joke that I'm Dory when it comes to that stuff.
Well, in our business, you pack a lot into your melon, and at the end of the day, sometimes you just have to have that release valve, and sometimes your thoughts get scrambled, just like eggs.
Well, fair enough. And Michael, with someone out there that is struggling right now, whether it's business, health, life, what's one thing that you'd want them to hear today?
No matter what happens, whether you're rising or falling, always give your glory to your Lord and Savior. Okay.
Thank you for your time today. I really appreciate the sit down.
No problem.
It's been a pleasure.
My pleasure.